Open and honest two-way communication was one of the biggest opportunities that came up in our engagement survey last year. And so when we dove deeper, we realized we needed additional channels beyond the traditional channels of go to your HR representative, go to your manager, ways where people could feel safe. And so we invested in AllVoices, which is a two-way anonymous feedback tool. And the response has been great. It's allowing us to bubble issues up faster. And no matter how big or small the problem, it's giving us perspective from multiple vantage points, right? Those traditional channels are still there. Now we have another channel. And so we're able to just get to the root of the problem more quickly and timely. And if anything, it's providing us real-time feedback rather than hearing about it after the fact or when it's too late. So it's been a great addition to the channels we already had.
We use AllVoices, which is a tool that we've come to love. And it's just the fact that your tool has built this anonymous bidirectional communication is just awesome. So we do get feedback quite a bit that aren't issues that would have ever risen to a hotline or a whistleblower type caliber, but they're people that aren't comfortable putting their name next to their comments, but they have a lot of comments to share.
We see transparency as an opportunity, a way to build smart trust with our people. So meaning that we have been using proper channel like AllVoices in different engagement survey platform to communicate updates regarding our return to work strategy and future plans. So in that strategy, it's not only about top down, it's not only about senior leader communicating to our people about what the plan looks like, but how we make decisions about the plan. It's really about how we get together as a community. So it's about how we encourage participation of our people and to make the decision together through feedback. And that indirectly create a continuous feedback culture with our people. So it's not hey, this is the direction we're going into, but how can you be part of that decision-making process? So for example, we use different tools. I mentioned about AllVoices, manager meetings and one-on-one check-ins. So we really take an evidence-based approach or data-based approach to collect feedback from our people and show them, hey, here are what we have heard from you, and how might we leverage that data to communicate the progress of new plans. So people really feel they're part of that process.
For Vapid Fun, we currently use AllVoices as our anonymous feedback platform, which has been a really great supplement, basically, as an additional feedback channel. Now, originally, when I started with AllVoices, I was okay, there will be a point where hopefully we will have achieved a level of trust where we might not need it anymore, right? But more and more, I'm seeing that there are also people who are just more hesitant to provide feedback. And so what you want to do, I think, as a company is provide different channels of communication so that no matter where you're coming from, meet them where they're at, right? And who they are, so that they can always provide their feedback in what they perceive to be a safe space.
Sharing some of your thought process and then even just letting your employees in. And I think there's so many wonderful ways to do that. AllVoices is a platform that helps you do that. Roundtables. But this is also a really unique time where you can generate ideas from your employees. And one of the things we've talked a lot about is none of us are in this alone. I don't have a pandemic playbook into distributed workforce playbook. We're all creating it together. And I think the more your employees feel they have a voice and an input to that process, it's a very tangible way that you can redefine trust and bridge that trust gap that sometimes exists between HR and your employee base.
Talked about AllVoices being both a hotline and a real-time feedback generally. That's something new because to date we've only had hotlines. You can go and get a whistleblower hotline and be very specific about what the legal requirement is and having a whistleblower hotline and roll that out to your employees, hopefully getting good adoption. Or you can use a broader platform like AllVoices where you're actually engaging on a regular basis with your employees to get feedback anonymously and otherwise, and including complaints that would serve the purpose of a whistleblower hotline. But I think that's a good example of where you're really thinking about adoption and engagement and user friendliness. How being human centered, sort of how what is important to employees and how are employees going to best provide feedback. And there's no one single way, but the more avenues that you have, the more likely you will be to find the one that works for the largest number of employees.
One of the reasons that we chose to implement AllVoices is because we can get really great data and run reports. And with those numbers, it can be easier to make decisions and also to bring a kind of coalition together around, hey, the data is showing this. There's less room for bias. There's less room for interpretation of whether that feedback was valid or not. Hey, it's feedback and we have the numbers right here.